Using my amazingly patented techniques of casting when the microphone is goddamn muted, this is now take 2 of this replay. Because, sod it, right. This is going to be a cast of me playing Leona, and I'm going to pause for a moment and bring up my pre-prepared diagram of absolute class. Yeah. Did I mention it's good? It's good, isn't it? Right. If I take Leona, ADC is good, it's happy days. If I take Leona and ADC is bad, I might as well slash my wrist and go be emo. Whereas if I'm Janna, at least the ADC is bad, keep them alive. And if ADC is good, then it's just good anyway. It just seems to me to be more intuitive to take Janna. I mean, okay, there are more nuances than that, but I showed you the match history, and it seems to be take Janna. Because even if ADC is retarded, then at least you can get stuff done, but... yeah. Right, the first thing I noted was that Graves actually took pot shots at Thresh when Thresh was in range. You'll be amazed how many people do not actually bother to shoot the enemy support when they just saunter up for some reason or another. Some of them just waltz in for no reason and they still don't shoot them. It was actually a refreshing change. That just one in maybe 15 people I meet who are actually competent enough. But in this instance, right, we hit level 2 first, and I take the opportunity to initiate because they're level 1, right? You have the level advantage, which means you have 2 abilities and they only have 1, as well as all the other stats. So I take the opportunity and just engage, and we managed to output a crazy amount of damage and we force a crack. I don't think Flash was technically necessary from them, but we basically won that engagement quite nicely. Because during the entirety that we took out half his health, he couldn't do anything, and if that happened again, then we would just kill him and I'd probably be able to get away with it. I took potions to make sure that in the next engagement I'll be fine, and right, there's this sweet spot that if you play Leona, you're going to have to get used to. It's somewhere around here, and it's an arc around here as well, where you can initiate. And some people get overly confident about the fact that underneath the tower, and you can initiate while staying out of their tower range, and just get more stuff done. Because people otherwise are more generally trying to evade you, run around and pay attention to where you are if it's in the middle of the lane, whereas if it was under the tower they do pay less attention. But in other situations, it's when you're in the middle of the lane, it's the same techniques of denying your enemy last hit, is knowing when they want to come in for a last hit, right? Because during that split second that they're trying to last hit it and stay absolutely still, they open themselves up to your engagement, and I take the opportunity here to see that they're 2 low health creeps. Emma is probably going to come in and try and last hit them, and I take the opportunity to engage on her instead. Graves responds, and we manage to get a whole lot of damage done. I auto attack and I escape to the bushes to break vision so she can't hit me. Mayokai wonders whether he can tower dive this, but I point out that MF hasn't used cleanse yet, which means that it probably wouldn't be successful, and he's probably just wasting his own time. And the thing with Leona's kit is that it's sort of designed that you would win the engagement, because not only are they CC'd, you get more, you do more damage overall from your passive procs, and because of your shield you take less damage in return. So you do more damage to them and their damage to you is worth less. The only issue is it does require your ADC to actually use it. I mean, the biggest complaint I see on the forums with regards to Leona is how she is so reliant on other people to unlock a great deal of her kit, and it's really annoying when you do something like an engagement as Leona and your ADC just doesn't follow through. I mean, in this instance, right, knowing how Thresh work, it'll probably be as soon as his counter minion dies, it's guaranteed to drop a soul, and Thresh will probably want to go get that. So I'm wary of this, and I stick around the area, see when he's going to go get it, and surely enough he does. The thing is though, right, he's now blocked himself in, well, the wall on one side, minions on the other, and I literally just aim straight down the line and nab him. and then Graves managed to get the managed to get the kill, which is fine. So in that instance, we want to die of misfortune, but I missed my E. But it doesn't matter, right? Because I missed my E and there's no one else around here. We also saw Jax was in mid, so no danger of him turning up here. But even if he wasn't, I would have taken the opportunity to go after. I failed my E, right? But I have an alternative gap closer known as Q. But the thing is your AD carry sometimes might get it in his head that as soon as you throw E, they start attacking him. They assume that you're going to hit it, which is fair props, but props to Graves actually waiting to make sure that I was taking the turret aggro before he started hitting me. Or started hitting Misfortune. So I go north to break the turret aggro. I wonder if I can get out this way or not, but I see Jax was coming down, so I decided, well, their minions here, might as well just come sort of back down here anyway. I wanted to go back, saw that Jax was being engaged Graves, so I turned up with stun in hand, but it's okay. We've now managed to exit this, like, initial, I call this initial laning phase before we've gone back, and Graves managed to get 2 kills from it. Purely by following. And then I was now in a happy spot where I know that if I engage, then he's going to follow me and I can get stuff done. Because the advantage of going with Leona when you have a competent ADC is that you can absolutely destroy your lane and make them their life absolutely hell. So in this situation, I wanted to do that, right? So I'm just looking for any opportunity. And this is the thing. Look, like, I am in a position that's highly aggressive and just like zoning MF out from farm. And the thing is, Graves is actually following me. He could very well like be one of those other ADCs who like happily hang back and just want to farm and just completely ignore what you do. In which case, I just have to cry because then my potential is completely wasted. But in this instance, we're just making them completely uncomfortable and forcing them out of CS. And as soon as they wander into range, then I can jump on them. I also then fail. That one was out of range. I then throw another completely I throw another Xenoblade that's completely off, and I think that's the last of the derpery. I don't know. That was horrible, but I now managed to nab him, and we do damage, which is fine. Except then Jax shows up. Now it becomes a matter of we have to try and get the hell out of here. The thing is, if a situation like this arises, it's perfectly acceptable and indeed the correct thing to do, where you sacrifice yourself in order to get your ADC out. It's far more imperative that they live than you do, because especially if you're you're bound to be in the thick of things normally, and you're probably going to end up dying. Whereas if your ADC dies, that's generally not good. So I Xenoblade to Jax to get the hell out of here. I stun him because, quite frankly, out of all these targets, right, the only real threat is Jax, because MF had already used Flash, so there's no way of her closing the gap. Thresh wasn't really going to kill, might have killed him, but it was more, if Thresh got the kill, then who the hell really cares? So the only real target left is Jax. Then I get the hell out of here, raise shield, and try to get out. But more to the point is Graves managed to get out, which is fine. Except then Jax tries to get the kill, and that ends up with Graves getting a kill from the gank, which honestly is perfectly acceptable. If this was just a 2-on-2 and I died and Graves got the kill, that would have been fine, honestly. So we're happy with that. Oh, and Jax died, so these two lanes now have the pressure off them. And as added bonus, Graves has blue buff. What else? I completely neglected to mention what the hell was happening in mid, which was a complete and utter carnage. And Annie is getting wrecked. Getting camped like crazy. I honestly don't blame her in a way for being 2 and 4 if she's constantly getting camped by Maokai, because Annie doesn't really have any escape mechanisms. But at the same time, if you know you're getting ganked this hard, then why the hell are you playing the way you are? Like, why are you so unable to adapt? And I completely miss what happened in bot lane. This is the problem. I naturally want to say what happens in mid lane, and then neglect what I'm actually trying to cast. So in this one, right, Graves gets caught, and I'm not actually trying to initiate here. I'm trying to get Graves out by CCing MF. And yeah, Graves snuffs it. But I can forgive him. He's done really well so far. But it's just now Annie is saying well back on the turret, but I do have to question what the feck she's doing with a Chalice of Harmony. She has no additional wards, so as soon as these two run out, she's going to be vulnerable again, as now sitting on her turret. Like, okay, like, the junglers might, like, complain that she's dying a lot, but at the same time, he's not really doing anything to alleviate this pressure. He's just like, if everyone can say Ganny's got camp and she's dying a lot for it, why is the jungle not doing anything to like counteract this? Like, okay, he's down at the top, but it's like he's been in 2 kills, Maokai has been in 4. It's just So now wards have run out, and he's sort of aware of this, doesn't really want to play, but still wants to CS. Honestly though, it then gets tower dive, so yay. Then Ryze snuffs it as well, so Ryze is generally a bad player. I will give an example as to this later, but I am now aware that MF still hasn't got cleanse. She might have flash, but the idea is I will just leap on her and initiate, because I don't know, because within our kit, as long as she sees Seed, Graves is the burst damage combined with Sunlight proc to actually ruin her, which we proceed to do really nicely. And more importantly was that I was tanking the turret, but unfortunately I then get a last auto attack off, which results in me getting a kill, which is not ideal at all. I mean, if you want to look at it another way, it's that out of this engagement we got the kill and they didn't, but it would have been so much more ideal had Graves got us, but she died and it's fine. I then screw up later on, and I must need to stress that technically I always consider Leona's ult to be off cooldown every time she comes back to lane, because it pretty much is, but I screwed up the next engagement because I didn't actually wait to see whether Graves was off cooldown, and you'll see why that completely screws me over later. Or not screws me over, I screw myself over because I really should have checked. So after that performance, that's all the real information you need. And again, MF comes in to try and last hit this, so I try and nab her for it, and I successfully do so. But this is not the correct thing to do. Right? If Graves had ult, she would have died. It's as simple as that. But unfortunately, he didn't. He has it now, and yeah, not good. I should have waited and initiated on the turret or something, but oh dear, I should have waited. I should have checked, more to the point. Not should have waited, just check full stop. If I had checked, I would have waited. And now Annie is 2 and 6 and just sitting under the turret being really sad, and still with no extra wards.
Purple team's turret has been destroyed.
So now the laning phase is over. We're in a pretty good spot. Graves should technically be on 5 kills. I wanted to wander mid and kill Annie because I wanted to play on the fun, but she's not having any of it. So what I'm going to do is pretty much set up for Drake and ward everything, so ward the approaches, and then this is exactly what I'm talking about with Ryze being a terrible player. Let's see, we see them now, right? Let's assume that it takes 3 seconds to react. So there's a normal fight. We're trying to get everything done. Has Ryze reacted yet? No. So we've I see Annie hasn't opened up on anyone yet. So I exhaust her because she's bound to try and get a beat on Grave, trying to kill him. So and she does, but because it's exhausted, the damage is nothing. Does Ryze react yet? No. And yeah, Ryze still is busy farming. And I'm trying to nab Annie, and unfortunately managed to grab Jax, and actually completely forgot. So I end up dying on the turret and ending up giving Annie a kill. What is Ryze actually doing? He's run out of mana because he was busy farming the minions. I really don't want to know what this game would be like if Mayokai had not camped mid to all shit and back and made Annie completely useless. Meanwhile, at top lane, Fabulous Tarek is dying to Wolf Dog. So, hey!
Rampage.
No one's in mid, so I try to CS what I can. It's generally not as exciting as if I was like Swain or something, but it still has its uses. Drake still hasn't been taken, and I was wondering whether I'd get up here in time or save Graves. The answer is no, but I thought we could at least trap Nasus, and technically we do, but Thresh Lantern saves day, and also between the three of us we probably wouldn't have the damage. Mirko does no damage, I do no damage, and I doubt Tarek could have been able to take them on either. So the next port of call is all aboard the Murder Annie train, which we do with absolute glee. Or I wanted to, but I didn't want to take the kill. So she dies again. And unfortunately, I can claim fortunately because she killed me, she's actually worth money.
Purple team's turret has been destroyed.
When there's a port and you're not really worth that much gold, feel free to feed yourself to their person who is worth no money and make them worth gold again. It was all planned. So we do this straight. I technically wanted to initiate if they were coming or not, but they don't want to, so I don't bother. The other thing was Graves wasn't actually here yet, so he never initiated. It might not have been the best idea. It would have depended, but they just didn't turn up, so there was no point in me trying to initiate it. So we saw Jax taking the silly way around, so we have him, but I do have the question, right? Right, we're all pushing forwards. We're pushing forwards. Jax takes a stupid way home. Where the fuck is Rise going? Like, we're still trying to push this, right? It's not as if we're getting chased or anything. He buggers off somewhere. Like, what are you doing? And then reacts a few seconds later. So, like, I EQ'd onto Jax, realised that Nasus was like on my ADC, so I used ult to stun Nasus and give Graves some more room, but basically, this fight should have been a wipe. An absolute wipe. But Rise was... I didn't even know what the hell he was doing. So we basically got screwed over again by... I don't know, maybe his brain was AFK or something. But it was irritating. All he has to do was go into the fight, roll his face across the keyboard, and we would have won really comfortably. And he couldn't even do that correctly. It's just... yeah. Whatever. So my item choices, once I got the Ruby Sightstone for all the vision, was to get Twin Shadows for peeling purposes. Because Nasus' only method of closing with Graves is to walk up at him, so he's vulnerable to slows. Because Nasus hasn't got flash, he hasn't got ghost, so slows will screw him over. Jax's only method of getting to him besides leap strike is to run at him. So by having even more peeling power, I can keep Graves alive so he can continually output damage. The other thing was I saw Thresh went up, so I will mirror his movements and wonder where he went. So I'm not sticking around with Graves. I think everything's okay. Right, I wanted to go ward this, and I didn't actually expect Graves to push this far. But it's okay, he got the kill. So I take the opportunity to go ward their jungle as aggressively as I can. Didn't realise there was a ping here, but hey. Like I said, Leona might be the only support who's made out of gold, but she still can't melt it down by all the walls in the world. So please, like, just pay your part and actually ward as well. I technically could have initiated on Nasus, but it's part of the point that, okay, we might have been able to initiate on him, but we wouldn't have been able to kill him. It takes a lot more than we wouldn't have been able to feasibly kill him in time, and I didn't know where the rest of the team was. I mean, they finally showed themselves down here, but since they are down here, we're just going to busy ourselves and push mid, because why the hell not? So Nasus is around behind us, Rise is around behind us, and I have to actually put the leash on like Rise or Grey and say, just get the bloody inhibitor and let's get the hell out of here. Which we do. And now I'm sort of like, I initially wanted to stay in this fight, and then realised that Nasus is actually on my ADC, so I go and peel for him instead. Because why not? I do my best to peel for him anyway. Which might not work out as well as it should, because in this instance, I have no idea what the fuck Rise is doing, but the Annie's now being unmolested and comes and blows everybody up, which I can't do anything about. Oh god, how hard is it to have a competent mid? There's always going to be one really bad person per team, it appears, at this like tier of play, and it would appear to be Rise, or it might have been Taric actually. It's hard to tell. Maybe they were both semi-bad, and Rise got made up from there camping his lane, but Taric just is inherently Taric, so I guess we can forgive him for losing to Nasus. It's a bit like, hooray, you won your lane against a Heimerdinger. What do you want, a fucking medal? Not saying that Taric is the same league as Heimerdinger, or actually vice versa, but you get the idea. So, as I always say, whenever you're removing wards, please laugh while you're doing it. And I saw MF bot, so I made a call to go to Baron. I would say we have the sustained damage with both Rides and Graves to do this in a fairly respectable amount of time, and then the only real danger would be Rise, Jax coming in and smite stealing it. And actually Jax was one level higher, but it turned out my call was the correct one and we kill it long before we get here. So I want to force this, right? So I use flash and ult. Like, Annie's caught, so I didn't go on her again, and I was trying to tag someone else. Now that the fight's actually started, we forced the fight, I'm then going back to peel for Graves, or we all actually peel for Graves, who is now happily shooting everything in the face. And I'm sort of wary that actually I might have overstayed my welcome. But it's okay. That was 2 for 3. And we are now pushing everything in sight. Probably should not have re-engaged, or well, go back in again, but oh well. Not really much to say. There's a 2-on-2 at top, and R2 is better than there too. Annie's doing terrible, terrible damage, or not. That challenge is working really well for her, because it's obviously running out of mana. But I don't know. Oh god, I'm not doing a bloody fail cast mode like Leslie's buddy. Whatever. Right. Graves is taking on Jax. He takes the turret, right? Except I'm really worried. Oh, Graves would have died, but Jax misclicked. I'm really worried that Graves might snuff it to Jax, so I summon the power of the sun in his head and end up killing him instead. It's okay, plus points for style, but hey, not overly ideal. Rule 1 of solo queue, please do not help the retard. I have no idea why the hell Taric went in. He dies. I have no idea why Rise is trying to go in either, so he died. For a very split second I wanted to go in and help, but I was like, no, I'm out of here, see you later. Can I do something? No. I actually almost very nearly died here, but it's just, nah, I'm out. So, use Twin Shadows to slow them down. Did they both hit the same person? That'd be really annoying. But I'm using the brush to break line of sight as much as possible so I don't get withered. Like, in this very split second, Nasus actually tried to use wither on me, and he's now stationary because they broke line of sight. And in that split second, I managed to get even more ground on them. And then they get shoot off. Not really much left to it besides the main point of interest for the bot lane. This is just general, I'm now running around, see if I can initiate, then I have to run back and peel for... I have to run back and peel for graves, which is fine, honestly. No, not much to say, except there's going to be some sort of last hurrah where they try to keep graves, so summon power to summon these two, and everyone's now peeling for graves. Right, use shadow, use roots, use stun, use everything possible to keep graves alive. Interpose yourself in between the two of you if you have to, or just sometimes it works, right? You just flash on top of your ADC, and sometimes they'll misclick and hit you instead. Honestly, use any and every means at your disposal to try and save your ADC, except in this instance, right, Annie just saunters up and kills him anyway. So it's sort of, that was all for fucking nothing. And it has to be said, Rice probably doesn't report for being bad because he probably hopes people do the same to him. Sorry for being mean, but some of the stuff he did this game was absolutely brain dead. And that is that. We push down the Nexus turrets, but we don't actually manage to kill the Nexus because we don't have damage for it. And unfortunately, Tarek has to be sacrificed for the greater good so we all live. It's okay. But they surrender pretty soon after anyway. So yeah, you can actually get a hell of a lot of stuff. Like, you can shut down a lane far harder if you're Leona. But the problem is that you play such a massive risk that the person you're laning with is actually competent. That is the major trade-off. And sometimes in solo queue, it is not worth banking on it. And you're far better off taking someone like Janna, where you're far more able to save people. When in the, like, even in this tier, right, there's less of people running around by themselves, but it still sometimes happens, and you can save them from dying. It promotes team cohesion. They are more thankful to you. They just like concentrate better, as opposed to if they die. Like, the comment is, why was no one helping me? It's just something like that. If you're a Leona, it's just sort of, I don't know, I sort of call it one-trick pony, where either you win your lane really hard, or you just initiate. There's just not really much utility to it besides damage and CC. It's, I don't know. I showed you the match history. It does seem suggested to me to play Janna more, but do tell me if this helped you or not, and I will probably see some of you at some other point. Good luck and have fun.